page 328. Let's read in the middle of the page responsively. We give thanks today for a Torah of life, the way of kindness, mercy, and truth. May compassion be our source of sustenance now, as in our people's past. May our souls withstand times of crisis and our hearts the inclination to evil. May the covenant of Abraham and Sarah strengthen our will to do what is right. May the qualities of mercy and goodness, love and forgiveness flow through our lives. And let us be strong in a perilous world. Let us open our hearts to the path of Torah. Kuma Adonai, ve'afutzu ovecha, ve'anusu misanecha mipanecha, ki mitzion tetzei Torah, ki mitzion tetzei Torah, udevar Adonai me'Yerushalayim, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, Le'amo Yisrael, B'Kedushato. You may be seated. Got it? Okay.
I'll take that. Thank you.
There we go. I've been particularly interested in the physical images in our Torah and Haftarah readings this year. On Rosh Hashanah, I referenced the focus on what the characters would eat. This morning, I spoke about the lips and the heart and the stomach. Well, this afternoon, I think it is worth paying attention to the few verses of the Torah portion that no one ever bothers discussing, that you may not eat leftovers on the third day. The text tells us that you should eat the sacrifice on the day it is offered or on the following day, but on the third day the remainder must be burned. Clearly, there was a practical reason for this in days before refrigeration. But the Torah never says, don't eat it or you'll get sick. It is rather focused on the spiritual integrity of the sacrifice. It is as though the Torah is saying that we can't offer a prayer one day and think that it covers us for an extended period of time. This is reflected in a principle that many of us simply don't realize. If you say a blessing over something you eat or drink, you are obligated to eat or drink that item immediately following the blessing. The blessing is not a catch-all for indefinite future action. So it is with Yom Kippur. It doesn't cover us for the indefinite future. Our offerings today only extend so far. Like the rechargeable batteries we use to run these microphones, you've got to come back and plug in again. On the third day, there's no zing left in them. Our Torah reading, we have 3 Torah readers this afternoon. Our first Torah reader will be Trish Monroe, and the first Aliyah will be recited by Tzahala David. And you could find the text beginning on page 338. Tamod Tzahala bat Devora v'Yisrael.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך. ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים, ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Davar Adonai el Moshe lemor. Daber el kol edat b'nei Yisrael. V'amarta lechem kadoshim tiyu. Ki kadosh ani Adonai Elohechem. Ish imo v'aviv tira'u. V'et shabtotai tishmoru. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Al tifnu el ha'elelim. Velohei masecha. Lo ta'asu lachem. Ani Adonai Elohechem. V'chi tisvahu zevach shlamim l'Adonai litzornecha litzornechem tizvechachu bayom zivchachem yahel umimachoret v'chanoter ad yom hashlishim b'esh yisaref v'im ha'ochel ye'achel b'yom hashlishi pigul hu lo ratzeh pigul hu lo yiratzeh. And I've lost my place. I'm sorry. Hang on. Right here, okay. The oklatav ono yisa ki et kodesh Adonai Hilil. I'm sorry. Ki et kodesh Adonai Hilil v'nichrata hanefesh hahu me'amecha ukutrachem et kitzir artzachem lo tichaleh pe'at sadecha le'ektzor v'leka kirtzacha lo tilaket v'charmecha lo te'olel ufet karmecha lo tilaket le'ani v'lager ta'azov otam ani Adonai Elohechem. Yes. Right. Wait a minute, I just lost it.
אלוהיכם.
Thank you. There we go. Okay, there.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Our second aliyah, our second reading will be done by G.P. Maloney, and our second aliyah by Jason Weinstein. Ya'amod Gedalia ben Beryl v'Nachama.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Habarach le'olam ba'ed.
Baruch Adonai Amrach Le'olam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher bacha banu mikol hamim, V'natan lanu et Torto, Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Lo tignovu, velo techachashu, velo teshakeru, ish ba'amito, velo teshavu, vishmi la shaker, v'chilalta, et shem Elohecha ani Adonai, lo ta'ashok et reacha, velo tigzol, lo talin, peulat sachir, itcha ad boker, lo tikalel cheresh v'lo bnei iwer lo titain michshol ve'areta me Elohecha ani Adonai lo ta'asu avel b'mishpat lo tisa penei dal v'lo techtar penei gadol בצדק תשפוט עמיתך, לא תלך רכיל בעמך, לא תעמוד על דמרך, אני אדוני, לא תשנא את אחיך בלבבך, הוכיך, תוכיח את עמיתך, ולא תישא עליו חטא, לא תיקום ולא תיקור את בני עמך, ואהבת לא רעך כמוך, אני אדוני.
Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher natan lanu Torat emet, V'chayei olam nata, B'tochenu Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Our third reading will be done by Hannah Scott, and the Aliyah will be recited by Howard Scott. Yamod Hillel ben Chaim.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Amrach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher bachar banu mikol hamim, V'natan lanu et Torto. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Mipnei seva takum ve'hadarta b'nei zaken ve'areta Elohecha ani Adonai ve'chiagur itcha ger b'artechem lo tonu oto ge'ezrach mikem yeh lachem Hager, Hagar itchem, ve'ahavta lo kamocha, ki gerim heitem be'eretz Mitzrayim, ani Adonai Elohechem. Lo tasu havel b'mishpat, b'midah, b'mishkal, u'v'mezurah. Mosne tzedek, avne tzedek, ephod tzedek, ve'hin tzedek yeh lachem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, ushmartem et kol chokutai v'et kol mishpatai. Vasitem otam ani Adonai.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher natan lanu Torat emet, V'chayei olam nota b'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Thank you. Don't the fire trucks know that it's Shabbat trope?
I thought you were going to say because it was Yom Kippur. We'll talk to him about that next year.
Yeah. We're going to lift and dress the Torah, page 340. Yep. V'zot Torah asher sam Moshe lifnei b'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. Yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la, la 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 la, yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la. Well, I think you know that the Haftarah for Yom Kippur is that Nebish Jonah. What's with this guy? He's the everyman of the Bible. He's the everyman. We're all Jonah. We're all Jonah. That's the reason the rabbis picked this text. So you could follow along. You could follow along with the text on page 344. And as I like to do with this text so we can get the full feel of the story, I'm going to be chanting it in English. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nviim tovim v'ratzav v'divreihem hanemarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'torah u'v'Moshe avdo u'v'Yisrael amo u'v'nviei ha'emet v'tzedek. And the word of Adonai came to Jonah, son of Amittai. Get up, go to the great city of Nineveh and proclaim against it, for their evil deeds have risen before me. But Jonah got up to flee to Tarshish, away from the presence of Adonai, and he went down to Jaffa and found there a ship heading for Tarshish, and he paid its fare and went down into it to head with them to Tarshish, away from the presence of Adonai. But Adonai hurled a great wind upon the sea, a storm at sea so great that the ship was in danger of being shattered to pieces. And the sailors were frightened, cried out, each to his God, and flung the ship's cargo into the sea to lighten their load. But Jonah had gone down into the hold, the lower deck of the vessel, and he lay down and fell into a deep sleep. And the captain approached him and said to him, "What are you doing? Sound asleep? Get up, call to your God. Perhaps the God will be kind to us and we will not perish." And they said, each man to his companion, "Let us cast lots, that we might know on whose account this evil event has come to us." So they cast lots, and the lot fell on Jonah. And they said to him, "Tell us, you who have brought this evil upon us, what is your trade, and where have you come from? What is your country, and who are your people?" And he said to them, "I am a Hebrew. I revere Adonai, God of heaven, who made sea and dry land." The men felt great fear, and they asked him, "What have you done?" Because the men knew he was fleeing from Adonai, for so he had told them. And they asked him, "What should we do to you to bring calm to the sea around us?" For the sea was growing more and more stormy. So he said to them, "Lift me up and hurl me into the sea, and the sea will calm down for you, for I know that this great storm came upon you because of me. And the crew rowed hard to return to the dry land, but they could not do it, for the sea was raging more and more fiercely around them. And they called out to Adonai, saying, Please, Adonai, please do not let us perish because of the life of this man, and do not hold us guilty for shedding innocent blood. For you, Adonai, that which you desired, you have brought about. And they lifted Jonah and hurled him into the sea. Then the sea stopped raging. The men revered Adonai, great was their reverence. So they offered to Adonai a sacrifice and made vows. And Adonai provided a great fish to swallow Jonah, and Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights. Jonah prayed to Adonai his God from the belly of the fish, and he said, I called to Adonai in my distress, and God answered me. I cried out from the belly of the netherworld, and you heard my voice. Into the depths you cast me, into the heart of the sea, and the floods engulfed me. All your billowing, breaking waves swept over me. And I thought to myself, I was banished from before your eyes. Will I ever again gaze upon your holy temple? The waters closed in over me, the deep engulfed me, rushes wrapped around my head. I descended to the low point of the mountains, the gates of the earth closed upon me forever. Yet you, Adonai, my God, raised up my life from the pit. When my life fainted away, I called Adonai to mind, and my prayer came to you, to your holy temple. They who cling to empty folly forsake their own welfare, but I, with a shout of thanksgiving, I will sacrifice to you what I have vowed I will fulfill. Rescue comes from Adonai. Adonai commanded the fish, and it spewed Jonah out upon dry land. And the word of Adonai came to Jonah a second time. Get up, go to the great city of Nineveh, and call out to it the proclamation that I will tell you. So Jonah got up and went to Nineveh according to the word of Adonai. Now Nineveh was a great city of God, 3 days' journey across. And Jonah started out and made his way into the city, the distance of a 1-day walk. And he called out and said, 40 more days, and Nineveh shall be overturned. The people of Nineveh trusted in God, and they proclaimed a fast, and they put on sackcloth from the richest to the poorest. And word reached the king of Nineveh, and he got up from his throne, took off his robe, put on sackcloth, and sat in ashes. And he cried out and said in Nineveh, by decree of the king and his nobles, no person or beast, a flock or herd, shall taste anything. They shall not graze, and they shall not drink water. They shall be covered with sackcloth, person and beast, and shall call loudly to God. Let all turn back from their evil ways and from the violence which is in their hands. Who knows? God may turn and relent, turn back from the heat of anger so that we do not perish. God saw what they did how they were turning back from their evil ways, and God relented from the evil planned for them and did not carry it out. But to Jonah this was a great evil, and it made him angry. So he prayed to Adonai, saying, Please, Adonai, is this not what I said when I was still in my own country? This is why I fled to Tarshish to begin with, for I knew that you are a gracious and compassionate God, endlessly patient and abounding in steadfast love, ready to repent of evil. And now, Adonai, please take my life from me, for it is better for me to die than to live. And Adonai said, Is it good for you to be angry? Then Jonah left the city, found a place east of the city, made himself a shelter there, and sat under it in the shade until he might see what would become of the city. And Adonai Elohim provided a gourd and made it rise up over Jonah to give shade for his head and rescue him from his evil situation. And Jonah rejoiced with great joy because of the gourd. But at dawn the next day, God provided a worm that attacked the gourd, and it withered. And as the sun rose, God provided an oppressive wind from the east, and the sun beat down on Jonah's head, making him faint. He begged for death, saying, It is better for me to die than to live. Then God said to Jonah, Are you good and angry about the gourd? And he said, I am good and angry to the point of death. Then Adonai said, You pitied the gourd which you neither worked for nor grew, which appeared overnight and perished overnight. Should I then not have compassion for the great city of Nineveh, a place of more than 120,000 human beings, unable to tell their right hand from their left, and many beasts? Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, tzor kol haolamim, tzadik b'kol hadorot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer v'oseh, hamdaber u'mkayem shekol devarav emet v'tzedek. Al ha'torah v'al ha'avodah v'al ha'nevi'im v'al yom ha'kippurim hazeh, shenatata lanu limchila Adonai Eloheinu, limchila v'lislicha ul'chapara lechavod ul'tifaret. Al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach umevarchim otach yitbarak shimcha befi kol chai tamid lo'olam va'ed u'devarcha emet v'kayam la'ad Baruch ata Adonai melech mocher v'solech la'avonotenu v'la'avonot amo beit Yisrael u'ma'avir ashmotenu b'chol shana v'shana melech ha'kol ha'aretz mekadesh Yisrael v'yom ha'kippurim. Amen. I want to thank all of our Torah readers this morning. Thank you for wonderful chanting. It's so great that we have so many congregants who can chant throughout these holidays. We're fortunate, but also a dedicated congregation that has learned a lot and chosen to learn a lot. We're going to return the Torah to the Ark. Please turn to page 352. Please rise. Yehalelu et Shem Adonai, כי נשגב שמו לבדו, הודו על ארץ ושמיים, וירם כרת לעמו, תהילה לכל חסידה, לבני ישראל עם קרובו. Hallelujah, hallelujah. You may be seated. I want to call your attention to the Amidah that we read for Mincha. We're not actually going to do the traditional text. We're going to do the creative text, and that's because of the way this particular prayer book understands Yom Kippur afternoon. If you look on page 354, it says, at the top of the page, the heart of Yom Kippur, Tikkun Midot HaNefesh. The middle paragraph, it gives a little bit of a description. The heart of Yom Kippur afternoon is Tikkun Midot HaNefesh, often called Tikkun Midot, repairing and strengthening the personal qualities and traits that enable us to fulfill our urge to be good, virtues such as love, self-discipline, gratitude, and forgiveness. And of course, that was the theme of our Yom Kippur adult discussion this afternoon that Claire led for us. So the editors of the prayer book have done something marvelously creative. They've taken these 7 midot, these 7 Jewish virtues that you see at the bottom of the page: steadfast love, strength, discipline, and restraint, holy living, forgiveness, love of Zion, gratitude, peace at home, and attached each one of them to one of the prayers, the 7 prayers of the Amidah for Yom Kippur. So each of these virtues is understood as if it is its own commentary on the theme of the prayer. So part of the delight of reading through the text of the virtues is seeing how they relate to the text of that particular prayer of the Amidah. So we're going to do these readings, the English readings, not everything that's in your prayer book, but rather each of the selections that highlight the tikkun, the midah, the particular virtue that prayer focuses on. We begin on page 361.
Kindness of the heart and hand, the blessing of chesed. Zocher chesdei avot ve'imahot. Remember the chesed of those who came before us? A desert tent furled on every side, the home of Abraham and Sarah, wide open to welcome travelers from all directions. An open hand to offer bread to strangers in need. An open heart, a bold voice lifted up in defense of others. Notzer chesed le'alafim. Hold fast these memories of chesed. Show mercy in 1,000 ways. Weave threads of kindness from generation to generation. And so our sages teach, why call God Megen Avraham, the shield of Abraham? Through this name, we ask God to protect the Abraham within each of us, our spark of generosity and kindness, the impulse to open our circle and widen our horizon of concern. And when we call God Ezrat Sarah, the one who intervened on Sarah's behalf, we seek to awaken within ourselves a spirit of generous activism to inspire life-sustaining deeds, selfless moments of giving to others. Descendants of compassionate ancestors, may we cultivate the instinct to love and serve. Blessed is the open heart, blessed the open hand.
Continue on page 365. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai. You are the power that never diminishes and never subsides. You are the strength we draw from Gevurah, our inner strength, our inner core of strength. strength to rise at dawn when hungry babies cry, strength to rise before the aged parent to bring care and dignity, strength to give patience to a child whose needs overwhelm us, strength to hold and heal a spouse in pain, to give love without losing hope, strength to survive a job that is stressful and unrewarding, strength to endure months or years without work and purpose, strength to face cries and strength to surmount everyday hurdles, strength to keep practicing and exercising, trying mightily in spite of failure, strength to do what is called for even when it is hard, strength to do what is right, especially when others do not. B'tah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, your power is with us always, in our human stamina and resilience, in our determination to persevere, in the discipline to set limits and make choices, in the fortitude to be true to our principles. Blessed is Gevurah, the will to act with courage, the gift of inner strength.
On page 369, Kedushat Hashem, the blessings of holiness. Nekadesh et Shimcha ba'olam. Let us sanctify your name in this world as celestial song sanctifies your name on high. Ask the Chofetz Chaim, is it not presumptuous for us to compare ourselves to angels? One might think it is like a pauper dressed in rags who appears before the king pretending to be one of the royal ministers. And he answered, in truth, we have as much right to stand before God as the angels. For it is written in the Torah, God blew into Adam's nostrils the breath of life, and he became a living soul. Holy One, you breathed into the human soul something of yourself. A spark of you is within us, yearning to rise up and unite with its source. And so we hunger for holiness. We long to lift up the mundane acts and make them beautiful. Let us reimagine our tables as holy altars, where each day we offer up our best through blessings and mindful eating, thoughtful conversations, and care for one another. Let us make marriages that are truly kiddushin, holy partnerships of intimacy, faithfulness, and love. Let us sanctify time, preserve and remember Shabbat, and keep the holy days of our people. In a world that can be cruel, let us create holy communities, oases of compassion. The Torah teaches, do not profane my holy name that I may be sanctified amidst the people of Israel. We sanctify your name in this world when we bring your spirit to all our deeds.
Please turn to page 385. May we be remembered for love and compassion. Rabbi Shimon taught, do not regard yourself as worthless. Harakamen, source of mercy, teach me the art of a compassionate gaze. Show me how to be patient and forgiving, kind and encouraging, loving and understanding, generous in spirit when faced with imperfection. Help me to extend love and compassion to my own imperfect soul. Help me to embrace these truths. I share the lot of all human beings. I am not alone in my failings. Whatever I have done, I am loved and valued by you, worthy of love, capable of goodness. Do not let me slip into self-loathing or despair. As I ask for your remembrance, I commit myself to remember. Self-compassion is not self-indulgence. It is not an excuse for bad behavior or an impediment to my growth. Harsh self-rebuke will not make me more gentle with others. On this holy day, I hold fast to these words of Torah. Be loving to your neighbor as you are to yourself.
The Hebrew of your poets, Zion, is like oil upon a burn. Through page 395, that'll help. The Hebrew of your poets, Zion, is like oil upon a burn, cool as oil, after work, the smell in the street at night of the hedge and flower, like Solomon. I have married and married the speech of strangers. None are like you, Shulamite. How difficult for me is Hebrew. Even the Hebrew for mother, for bread, for son is foreign. How far I have been exiled, Zion.
Page 399. The blessing of gratitude. Modim anachnu lach. For miracles and wonders are with us always, and goodness is woven through our lives. Our sages teach that miracles are astounding acts. They shake us to the core. And wonders, these, they say, are the miracles of which we are unaware. Well hidden in the laws of nature, great wonders reside. The rhythm of our breathing, the rise and fall of tides, the wing beats of a hummingbird, the choreography of bees, the cycles of the heavens, the seasons of the sky, and sunlight on leaves transmuted into energy. How wondrously fixed and predictable, migration of birds, circulation of blood. How utterly extraordinary is the ordinary. But goodness, is it with us always? Can we feel it even now? Consider this. The eye is narrow in its gaze, for at this very moment, some lives are bathed in miracle, a newborn child in the arms of parents who were past the point of hope, the happiness of improbable love after many years alone, recovery from surgery, the easing of grief, food for the hungry, rain after drought, the first light of peace in a war-darkened land. May I look up from my dark places and be glad. Somewhere, even now, wondrous goodness blossoms forth.
Page 407, Sim Shalom, the blessing of peace. Sim Shalom, Tovar Uracha, Chen Vachesed Varachamin. Let there be peace, grant goodness and blessing, grace, constancy, and compassion. Rabbi Joshua ben Levi taught, great is peace. Peace is to the world as leaven is to dough. And thus we learn, peace is not passivity, a state of restful inertia. Peace is the fermenting energy, the source of creative and expansive growth. When there is peace in the world, human talents may blossom and all are enriched. When there is peace in a family, all members may grow to fulfill their potential. When there is peace in our soul, we are free to express all gifts within us.
Page 410. Yehiyu Lerat Page 434.
Let's read responsibly. The task that awaits us. What is the Jewish way to God? It is not a way of ascending the ladder of speculation. One understanding of God is not the triumphant outcome of an assault upon the riddles of the universe or a donation we receive in return for intellectual surrender. Our understanding comes from the way of mitzvah. By living as Jews, we attain our faiths as Jews. We do not have the faith in deeds. We attain faith through deeds. When Moses recounted to the people the laws of the covenant with God, the people responded, "We will do and we will hear." This statement was interpreted to mean, in doing, we perceive. A Jew is asked to take a leap of actions rather than a leap of thought. What is mitzvah? A prayer in the form of a deed. Genuine religiosity is doing. It wants to sculpt the unconditioned out of the matter of this world. The countenance of God reposes, invisible in an earthen block. It must be wrought, carved out of it. To be engaged in this work is to be religious, nothing else. Multiplicity is given into our hands to transform into unity, a vast formless mass to be given forth by us with the divine. The human community is as yet only a projected opus that is waiting for us, a chaos that we must put in order, a diaspora that we must gather in, a conflict to which we must bring reconciliation. But this we can accomplish only if each of us, each in our own place, will perform the just, unifying the informing deed. For God does not want us to be believed. For God does not want to be believed in, to be debated and defended by us, but simply to be realized through us.
Page 437. Amarabi Akiva, Amarabi Akiva, Amarabi Akiva. Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. זה כלל גדול בתורה, ואהבת לרעך. אמר רבי עקיבא, אמר רבי עקיבא, אמר רבי עקיבא. ואהבת לרעך כמוך. זה כלל גדול בתורה, ואהבת לרעך. Okay, last time, we'll say it together. אמר רבי עקיבא, אמר רבי עקיבא, We're going to continue now with the part of the service known as Ele Ezkara, These I Remember. Page 518. la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la la la, la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la la. These I remember, the ones whose lives were shaped by a mitzvah. You must not remain indifferent. The ones who lost their lives through devotion to a mitzvah. Justice, justice shall you pursue. The ones who embodied through deed and dedication a mitzvah. Choose life. And these I remember, the ones who mended the broken, brought healing to the wounded, fought back despair with the solace of faith. The ones who breathed life into a prayer, Litakein olam b'malchut Shaddai, to establish in the world the sovereignty of high and noble purpose. I remember these, artists of the soul, architects of redemption, the activists and advocates of justice and beauty, exemplars of Tikkun Olam, repairing the world. On this holy day, we remember. 10 sages, known as the 10 martyrs, were executed by Rome in the uprisings of the 1st and 2nd centuries of the Common Era in the land of Israel. Though many other Jews lost their lives as well, the courage of these 10 has been recalled for centuries in a Yom Kippur poem of lament, Eila Ezkara, which reflected the experience of Jewish communities devastated by the Crusades, which began in 1096. And these are their names: Rabbi Yishmael the high priest, Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel, prince of Israel, Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Hananiah ben Teradion, Rabbi Chutzpit, Rabbi Elazar ben Shemua, Rabbi Hanina ben Chachinai, Rabbi Yeshavav the scribe, Rabbi Yehuda ben Dama, Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava. Page 521.
And these 10 we remember: Shmuel Zeigelbaum, James Canny, Andrew Goodman, Michael Schwerner, Eddie Hilsum, Yosef Romano, Hannah Sanesh, Daniel Pearl, Rabbi Regina Jonas, Yitzhak Rabin, men and women of the modern era who embodied the essence of Tikkun Olam, offering hands and hearts to a world in need of repair. Their rich lives and their tragic deaths remind us that every human life has the power to shape history. The prayers of Yom Kippur sets us on a path to becoming better human beings. Today, let us learn from the lives of those who walked that path before us. Shivki kamayim libech, and pour out your hearts like water. Pour out your hearts and remember to choose one's own way. We who lived in concentration camps can remember the people who walked through the huts and comforting others, giving away their last piece of bread. They may have been few in number, but they offer sufficient proof that everything can be taken away from a person but one thing, the last of the human freedoms: to choose one's attitude in any given sense of circumstances, to choose one's own way.
Before we go on to the next reading, those of you who have been with us for a number of years are familiar with this section of the service and how it takes the theme of the 10 martyrs from the Roman period and extends them to the stories of martyrs of recent times. I just want to read one of these passages this evening. because this year marks the 50th anniversary of the Munich massacre, when Israeli competitors in the Olympics were murdered by terrorists. This is the story of one of them. Page 526.
Yosef Romano represented the state of Israel and the Jewish people on the world stage as an Olympic athlete. Born in Benghazi, Libya in 1940, Romano immigrated with his family to British Mandatory Palestine at age 6, amidst the terror caused by Muslim massacres against the Jews of Tripoli and 5 other Libyan communities in July 1945 and January 1946. 2 decades later, Romano fought on the Golan Heights in the Six-Day War. And in Munich, he fought back against Palestinian terrorists who had taken Israeli wrestlers and weightlifters hostage. Romano, a weightlifter, was a member of the Israeli team in the 1972 Summer Olympics in Munich. "This is my last competition," he said of his athletic career on September 4 of that year. "I don't have enough time for my children." 11 members of the Israeli Olympic team were taken hostage and murdered in the massacre by Black September terrorists on September 5, 1972. Though suffering from a ruptured tendon of the knee, Yosef Romano resisted the assailants in an effort to save the lives of his teammates. He was murdered early in the siege. Courage, according to a friend, was his religion. Lo tuchal lehitalem. You must not remain indifferent.
Page 532.
Kaddish. Upon Israel and upon the rabbis and upon the disciples and upon all the disciples of their disciples and upon all who study the Torah in this place and in every place. To them and to you peace. Upon Israel and upon all who meet with unfriendly glances, sticks and stones and names on posters in newspapers or in books to last, chalked on asphalt, or in acid on glass, shouted from 1,000 windows by radio, who are pushed out of classrooms and rushing trains, whom the 100 hands of a mob strike, and whom the jailers strike with bunches of keys, with revolver butts. To them and to you in this place and every place, safety. Upon Israel and upon all who live as the sparrows of the streets, under the cornices of the houses of others, and as rabbits in the fields of strangers, on the grace of the seasons, and what the gleaners leave in the corners, you children of the wind, birds that feed on the tree of knowledge, in this place and in every place, to them and to you, a living, upon Israel and upon their children, and upon all the children of their children, in this place and in every place, to them and to you, life.
For our teachers and their students and the students of the students, we ask for peace let us say, Amen. This concludes the afternoon service. We will begin again at 5:30 with Yizkor. I know that's a big break. Things are different now that we're back in person and all the timing. I'm a little off on some of this timing here. So we got a break, but back at 5:30. I don't want to start earlier than people are expecting to be here for Yizkor. So see you then. And just to remind you, everybody is welcome to Yizkor. Yizkor is for everybody.